President Kenyatta, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, I would like to thank the Republic of Kenya under the leadership of His Excellency President Kenyatta for hosting this event and recognizing the importance of global conversations on the blue economy. I would also like to thank President Kenyatta for the warm hospitality extended to me and my delegation. Asante sana. I would also like to congratulate Kenya and co-host Canada and Japan for organizing this forum ahead of the 2020 Ocean Conference. It is a great pleasure for my delegation and myself to be here in Nairobi to attend this landmark event, the first ever global conference on sustainable blue economy. Seychelles' delegation today includes not only government officials, but representatives from the fields of business, civil society, academia, and science and research. Seychelles' innovative approach to the blue economy will be presented in the Seychelles Day side event this afternoon. For Seychelles, the blue economy represents the next frontier of development. Various stakeholders will present how we are pushing our blue economy agenda forward. Considering our growing capacity needs in this vital sector, Seychelles commits to training more women to join the blue economy and related maritime sectors. As champion for the development of the blue economy in Africa, announced at the AU Extraordinary Summit in Addis Ababa last week, I am proud to commit to doubling Seychelles' effort to work with all AU member states and partners to fully integrate the blue economy across all policies and programs on our continent. The hosting of this conference in Kenya is further evidence that Africa is beginning to make its presence felt in the growing worldwide movement to develop the blue economy. This conference showcases the importance for the African continent to seize the rich opportunities that the blue economy offers us. We can confidently say today that Africa has firmly placed the blue economy on its development agenda. One sector that has been Seychelles' focus since the beginning of 2018 is shipping. Since hosting the first African Ship Owners Summit in April 2018, Seychelles has been working closely with the African Ship Owners Association to establish the headquarters of the Pan-African Shipping Line in Seychelles, on land offered by the state. This will be the center for all ship owners in Africa and act as a hub for all activities related to the shipping and maritime sectors. Seychelles will also host the first investment forum of the Pan-African Shipping Line in March next year. The aim of this forum is to get greater African ownership of the shipping industry and together derive the maximum benefits from the maritime sector. Growing regional ownership and responsibility for maritime security is also evident with the Indian Ocean Commission chairing the contact group on piracy off the coast of Somalia for the second year in a row. Moreover, with financing from partners like the EU, the CGPCS is working closely with the Eastern and Southern African and Indian Ocean countries for the establishment of a regional mechanism for maritime surveillance and control for the Western Indian Ocean region. 5 countries have already joined the regional mechanism, which we commit will become fully operational next year. Today, I would like to encourage neighboring countries as well as international partners to join us to make these centers international hubs that benefit all. Regional and international cooperation have always been at the heart of our approach, and we welcome and value partnerships. Seychelles' blue economy experiences and successes to date have shown how crucial partnerships can be, especially in raising innovative finance and investment. The world's first debt swap for ocean conservation and climate adaptation and first sovereign blue bonds attest to this. Both have been made possible with the assistance of partners such as the Paris Club, the World Bank, the Global Environment Facility, and the Prince of Wales International Sustainability Unit. We believe in the importance of partnerships. Seychelles and Mauritius are together developing a framework for the first and only joint management of extended continental shelf in the world with the support of the Commonwealth. Together, we jointly manage some 400,000 square kilometers of extended continental shelf on the Mascarene Plateau. Seychelles and Mauritius commit to jointly launch this area to investors at an international symposium to be hosted in Seychelles on the 6th and 7th of May 2019. Seychelles firmly believes that good governance, transparency, and accountability are critical to sustainable development. This is why my government made a commitment at the most recent Our Ocean Conference to host the Fisheries Transparency Initiative headquarters in Seychelles by April 2019. We have also engaged at the international level with the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative as we sail towards a sustainable blue economy anchored in a healthy ocean. This conference is a prime opportunity for all of us to gather our collective efforts and capitalize on the opportunities that exist within the blue economy in Africa and beyond for the benefit of our people and future generations. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Faure. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our next video highlights the second theme of the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference: employment, job creation, and poverty eradication. Enjoy. Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, it's now my pleasure.
Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Heads of Delegations, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you my President, a champion and committed leader of Blue Economy, and President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, a key country of the blue economy, His Excellency Muhammad Abdullahi Muhammad Farmajo. Your Excellency, please.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, Excellencies, Head of States and Governments, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to join this historic and remarkable first conference on sustainable blue economy in this beautiful city of Nairobi. May I commend and thank my brother, President Uhuru Kenyatta, for hosting and organizing this important conference that seeks to bring the tremendous opportunity of blue economy while conserving our waters for future generations. Somalia potentially stands to gain the most from robust and sustainable blue economy. Somalia is a country of strategic importance with a coastline of over 3,300 kilometers, which is the longest in continental Africa, and an upwelling zone, which is one of the most productive in the region, offers endless potential for ocean-based industries and investment. We have an abundance of untapped reserves, from fisheries and marine resources to offshore oil and gas and various minerals resources. My administration recognizes that this largely unexploited resource base can have transformative outcomes in addressing poverty, food insecurity, water shortages, energy needs, and unemployment challenges. We are therefore developing a comprehensive strategy to tap and harness the full potential of sea-based economy in an environmentally sustainable manner. Our Ministry of Port and Marine Affairs promotes to foster partnership for development and upgrading of our geostrategic ports, promotes shipping seafood industry, aquaculture, desalination, and the mineral developments. An equally robust Ministry of Fisheries that is mandated to develop marine resources. We are fully aware of this inextricable link between peace and security and sustainable development. The long period of conflict has no doubt negatively impacted the growth and development of ocean resources in Somalia. However, Somalia is recovering fast, and its sovereignty and border are now fully restored. Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, as we discussed the potential for sustainable blue economy and the need for investment and industrial follows, it's imperative that we first address all illegal activities along our coastline and unsanctioned exploitation of our marine resources by foreign fishing fleets, illegal charcoal trade to foreign markets, and dumping of toxic waste have become some of the most serious environmentally challenges affecting the Somali coast. I hope one of the momentous outcomes of this historic conference would be a strong commitment to cooperate and controlling all illegal offshore activities. My administration will continue to actively seek international cooperation to address these issues. We believe with the transparency and enhanced cooperation and advances in technology and satellite capabilities, we should be able to curb these activities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, peace and security remains a top agenda for my government. We are strengthening governance, heightening security cooperation for stability, including safe ocean and seas, and we are enhancing resilience to mitigate the harsh effects of climate change and continuing droughts. These efforts have begun to bear fruits with much interest in our ocean sector already being registered. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to commit that Somalia is ready for suitable and sustainable partnership and investment to tap into our rich marine resources. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We'd also like to announce that the first thematic session on smart shipping, ports, transportation and global connectivity will be commencing at 11 o'clock at the amphitheater. Speakers, moderators and participants required for that session, please proceed to the amphitheater. Thank you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our next video highlights theme 3 of the Sustainable Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished heads of delegation,
Head of State and Government, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that, on behalf of the Government of the United Republic of Tanzania and the people, I take this opportunity to express our immense gratitude and thanks to the Government of the Republic of Kenya, Government of Canada, and Government of Japan for the successful collaboration efforts in organizing this conference. Likewise, on behalf of my fellow member of the delegation of the United Republic of Tanzania, led by His Excellency Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein, President of Zanzibar, we extend our sincere appreciation to the brotherly people of Kenya for gracious hospitality they have accorded to us since our arrival. We really value and cherish the opportunity to participate in this important conference on the sustainable blue economy. Therefore, without further ado, I would like to welcome His Excellency Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein, President of Zanzibar, to deliver a statement on behalf of the United Republic of Tanzania and the people. Welcome, Your Excellency, the President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Revolutionary Council.
Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to convey greetings from your brother and colleague, His Excellency Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. In fact, he was looking forward to come to Kenya in person to attend this very important conference, but he failed to do so due to other exigencies in his office. Therefore, he has requested me to represent him. Furthermore, allow me also, on behalf of the government and the people of the United Republic of Tanzania, to commend the government of the Republic of Kenya, the government of Canada, and the government of Japan for their stewardship toward this August conference in sustainable blue economy. This conference is one of a kind in the sense that it could not be hosted at a better time than now. The United Republic of Tanzania directly depends on the oceans, Great Lakes, and rivers for regional and global connectivity. These water bodies are very important to us in trade, energy, tourism, and many other social and economic activities. As we strive to transform our standard of living and our level of social welfare through our national poverty reduction strategies, the United Republic of Tanzania has always been in the forefront of regional and intentional efforts of ensuring sustainability and conservation of our aquatic environment. We need growth in the blue economy. This is why we have stepped up our efforts in pursuing the blue growth for a green future. But we also acknowledge that the management of our resources in pursuit of the blue economy has been a major challenge that requires collective efforts to achieve our objectives. As the world population continues to soar, we face a paramount threat of climate change, falling water tables, droughts, sea levels rise, and other challenges that are caused by both human activities and natural occurrences. These challenges are serious, not simply because of the damage they inflict on the environment, but the direct threat that being made against our own national growth strategic plans. In addressing these challenges, we must all strive to protect our oceans, lakes, and rivers while integrating sustainable development goals and the blueprint of the future we want. Tanzania's priority in integrating blue economy principles are centered around mobilizing policy and financial resources, as well as formulation of legal frameworks to support improvement of our oceans, lakes, and riverine ecosystems. We must strengthen our enforcement, monitoring, and compliance regime in protecting and conserving these vital arteries of our nations. In protecting and conserving these notions, we should not lose sight of involving our communities, private sectors, as well as development partners in exploiting the blue economy. However, we cannot do this alone due to transboundaries nature of our oceans, lakes, and rivers. We all need to cooperate closely at regional and international levels if we are going to be able to sustainably exploit our oceans, lakes, and rivers to their full potential. As I conclude, let me reiterate the United Republic of Tanzania's commitment towards mainstreaming the blue economy policy development, fostering social and economic inclusion, mainstreaming climate change's dimensions, and environmental sustainability. I wish this conference a greater success. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Would like to remind delegates that the first thematic session on smart shipping, ports, transportation and global connectivity is about to commence at the amphitheater. Speakers, moderators and participants, for that, please proceed. Gentlemen, our next video highlight Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates, it is an honor and a privilege for me to introduce President Museveni, President of Uganda, to make his remarks. In 2015, under his guidance, Uganda presided over the United Nations General Assembly and helped in the formulation and adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals. These Sustainable Development Goals are deeply intertwined with sustainable blue economy, which is the subject of this conference. Uganda, though not a coastal country, shares with Kenya and Tanzania the second largest inland water body in the world, Lake Victoria. It is also home to many other water bodies, such as Lake Albert, Lake Edward, Lake George, Lake Kyoga, and others. It is also the source of the longest river in the world, the River Nile. Please join me in welcoming President Yoweri Museveni and asking him to make his remarks. Thank you.
Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Their Excellencies, the heads of state, and members of the other delegations. I thank the government of Kenya and the government of Canada and the government of Japan for organizing this conference. I normally don't pay much attention to international groups. They really waste a lot of our time talking about things which are not well thought out. So when I heard of the blue economy, I didn't attend to it. That's another new cliche which they have started. So initially I didn't bother to follow. But when I studied more, I said, but these people are talking, why do they call it blue economy? Why don't they call it life? Because what we're talking about here is about life. Because there is no life without water. You know that. So we should find a way of highlighting that linkage between survival of the species and what we are talking about here. I think some of you are Christians, and you must have heard of the Tower of Babel. In the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verses 1 to 9, there's a story of people who are so arrogant, they built a big tower. They wanted to get near God and hear what he was saying. They built the tower, it got up, but then along the way it disintegrated. And they say that's why we are speaking different languages. So there are people who don't respect nature. The blue economy, meaning the water of the ocean, and of the lakes and of the rivers is a matter of survival for us. It means rain. Where does rain come from? From the oceans and other water bodies. It means fish. I don't eat fish myself, but I know that fish is a very big food for many of you people. Transport between countries and within countries. You saw the films here. Energy from the wind of the ocean. Tidal, that we can get electricity even from the tides. I hear some of the seaweeds can even be eaten as food. That is for the ocean. For the fresh water, then the values are the rain. In the case of Uganda and other parts of East Africa, 60% of the rain comes from the ocean. 40% comes from the local wetlands and the rivers. And if you want to know this, you can look at Uganda. The northwestern part of Uganda gets about 60 inches of rain in a year. Karamoja, which is near Turkana, gets half of that. Why? Yet they are on the same latitude. The difference is caused by the wetlands in South Sudan and the forest in Congo. That's why northwestern Uganda gets 2 times the amount of rain compared to the northeast. So therefore, when we are talking about the blue resource, meaning the water of the ocean, of the oceans and the water of the inland water systems, we are really talking about survival. So the lakes, the rain, hydropower. I don't agree with the expert who was campaigning hydropower here. This is the confusion we don't want. The English say a bird in hand is better than 2 in the bush. Now this expert is saying, forget about hydropower. Go for what? No, let's first consolidate what we have, and we shall add on the other things when they come. So please stop the campaigning hydropower, because it's going to cause more confusion in the funding and so on. So the hydropower, water for drinking, water for production, transport within on these lakes, moderating the climate. I live on Lake Victoria. Also, you Kenyans, you live on Lake Victoria this side, Kisumu, Homa Bay, our Tanzanian brothers, Musoma. But when you come to Uganda, my side is cooler than Kisumu. When you're in Kisumu, you are sweating, so the temperature is a bit high. Why? Because unfortunately for Kenya, the wind blows from east to west, so it takes all the cooling to me. And you remain with all the heat. So, these water bodies are cooling agents. They moderate the climate. Fishing. You have heard of fishing also on the lakes. So all these are the values, and they have been mentioned. So I shouldn't really waste the conference's time repeating them. So what are the threats? We here on the mainland, our main problem is soil erosion. What causes soil erosion? Interfering with the vegetation. Because God had arranged everything by planting forests and grass, so that when it rains, the runoff water, you call it runoff. English is poor, they don't have enough words. Runoff. I don't know what they call it in Swahili, but we in our language there we call it omtunga. The water which is running on the ground. Omtunga. We shall get a word in Swahili. So this runoff, when you remove the vegetation, that vegetation would act as a filter so that the water, the runoff, as they call it in English, enters the river or the lake when it is soil-free, without soil, without silt. But now, if you look at the Kagera River, the one between Tanzania and Uganda, it is all brown. Why? Because people have cultivated on the highlands, or the soil is being swept into the river and into the water. Pollution by industrial effluent, plastics. Now, the consequence of all this, interfering with the wetlands, removing the wetlands. Those wetlands, again, are sieves for the water. And they are also factories for the rain. Interfering with the forests, cultivating on high gradient hills. A hill is very steep like this, people are cultivating on the hill. When it rains, all the soil is swept into the rivers. Cultivating up to the lakeside shore, cultivating up to the riverbanks, overfishing, etc., etc. So what is Uganda's plan in this matter? First of all, we have started a war against bad fishing. We are still using crude methods. Unashika mwizi wa samaki, you just get hold of him. But we want to get smarter by installing surface radars on the lake shore, where you can sit in one place and you watch what is happening on the lake. We also want to ensure that all the boats which are operating on the lake get electronic registration, so that we know which boat is where and why. We must also control the flooding of human beings in these lakes. Because fishing must have a limit. Can we have 1 million people all fishing? What is the optimal number of the fishermen per square kilometer. We should agree on that for sustainable fishing, you cannot have so many fishing nets in a square kilometer. There must be a limit. The other people can come on the lake, near the lakeside, not to do fishing, but to make mandazi, kata nywele. Okay, that's your job now. But for the fishing, only this number, which is optimal. Ensure that 200 meters from the lake shore, all the vegetation is protected. We want this vegetation near the lake to be the sieve, to sieve the runoff, as the English call it, to go into the lake, but when it is free of soil and free of other pollutants. The rivers, we must have 50 meters of vegetation, so that when what we call omtunga in our language goes into the river, it is free of silt. It has already been filtered by the vegetation. We are trying to bribe our people who invaded the wetlands to get out. Give them money, please, get out of the wetlands. It's a type of bribe, but it's better than crude removing them, because that will also cause other problems, because you know we need votes. There's also the side of votes. If there was no issue of votes, then people would just... not allow people to settle and cultivate on a hill whose gradient is 30 degrees and more. That's why we have had landslides and they have killed people. You find people are settled on like this wall there. 70 degrees gradient, somebody is trying to settle there. Of course, these people have not heard about gravity, that when you are like that gravity will pull you down. Therefore, we have that plan of environmental protection. This is our plan. I think you can call it a pledge, an undertaking. But generally speaking, and finally, there are two problems for the environment in the world. Problem number one is greed. Greed, tamā. In Europe and the Western world, and some other parts of the world, the environment is being damaged because of greed. People want shortcuts. They want quick money. They want easy money. Otherwise, technologically and financially, it is possible to protect the environment in the industrialized part of the world. You don't have to use dirty fuel, you can use clean fuel. If you look at the United States and Western Europe in general, what percentage of the population is in agriculture. Only 2%. Only 2% of the population in the US is in agriculture. The rest of the population is in industry or services or public service. What is the percentage in Uganda? 60%, 70%. Who are in agriculture? Now, in the US, where you don't have too many people in agriculture anymore, because they have shifted to industry, it is easy to protect the forests, because the people are no longer invading them, looking for land for agriculture. Cutting forests. In Uganda, people are cutting forests for firewood, for fuel. In North America, people are cutting forests for greed because they are trying to make money from trees which don't really are crucial for, which are not crucial for their survival. So I think in the case of Europe and other parts of the world, the danger to the environment is greed. We need priests, we need His Holiness the Pope, condemn greed. That's the main problem there. Money, 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 money. Here in Africa, it is a combination of greed, yes, but it is also necessity that we are fighting with. You have got 70% of the people in agriculture. In a small country like Rwanda, like Burundi, even Uganda is not a very big country. How will you keep them from invading the forests and invading the water bodies? Now there's also this other problem of democracy. When you need votes of the forest encroachers, and you need votes of the encroachers on the wetlands. So that's one problem. Industrialization is very crucial for Africa so that people get out of agriculture and go to industry and services and ICT. Then we remain with smaller numbers in agriculture to deal with in order to protect the water bodies, the hillsides, and the forests. On the side of fuel, we need electrification. So those conservationists who in one breath talk about conservation, then they also don't emphasize electricity. They are not serious. There is no way you are going to protect the forests if you do not provide alternative cheap energy, which is electricity or gas for the population. So with these few words, I thank His Excellency Uhuru for inviting me, and I wish you good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Excellency,
Your Excellencies, Head of State and Government, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, oceans, seas, lakes, and rivers are the heritage of the human being and deserve to be protected by all of us. Mozambique is committed to join to the effort to preserve this human being treasury. For this reason and occasion, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce His Excellency Felipe Jacinto Nunes, the President of the Republic of Mozambique, my President, to take the floor. Excellency, please.
Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta.
Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, I believe you are listening to interpretation into English. Can you hear? President of the Republic of Kenya, distinguished heads of state and government colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me join the distinguished speakers who preceded me in greeting all participants and thanking the host, the government, and the people of the sister Republic of Kenya for the warm hospitality accorded to me and my delegation since our arrival in this beautiful country. Dear participants, the blue economy as a concept has been expanding as space for policy formulation at global level, and it translates our aspirations to leverage a new dynamic in the economic development by harnessing in an integrated and sustainable manner the immense potential that oceans and its ecosystem provide to humankind. The sustainable blue economy is a smart way to deliver on the sustainable development goals, particularly the one related to the conservation and sustainable use of oceans and seas, rivers, lakes. This is so because aquatic and marine resources create various economic activities likely to generate wealth and provide livelihood and opportunities of jobs to many coastal populations. The transboundary nature of oceans that unite us make it imperative that we tackle the growing global challenges and threats in face of new uses of the sea, plastic waste, proliferation, and maritime security by accepting concerted and harmonized approaches among nations that share this space. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be very objective, very bold, and talk about what Mozambique does. Mozambique, my country, has a maritime territory of about 43% of the total national area, with close to 2,780 kilometers of coastline that hosts a rich diversity of marine and coastal ecosystems. In addition, 60% of the country's close to 28 million inhabitants earn their living from marine resources. For this reason, and with a view to translating into action our commitment regarding sustainable use of the sea and rivers and revitalizing the blue economy, we have established for the first time the Ministry of Sea, Inland Waters and Fisheries, which has acted decisively in this regard. Through this ministry and that of Land, Environment and Rural Development, we have championed efforts towards conservation of biodiversity and marine ecosystems, among which mangroves, coral reefs, seagrass, and others that support marine life. Our efforts are also focused on the conservation of marine species that proudly adorn our maritime space, mainly the 6 most charismatic species of tourism and scientific research importance. Dear participants, if you have never seen marine turtles, sharks and manta ray, come to see them in Mozambique. They are a treasury, not only for Mozambique but also for all humankind. Hence, their protection is an added responsibility, because fishery is a traditional income generating activity. We have endeavored to establish an institutional and legal framework so that it is exercised in a cost-effective and responsible way. We have encouraged aquaculture, where tilapia is predominant as an alternative to relieve the pressure on native species, which are becoming scarce. In 2017, the government approved the first sea policy and strategy with the purpose of promoting knowledge and cultural, economic, and social development on the sea, premised on the principles of the blue economy. We want our sea to be managed in an integrated, responsible, and safe manner with socio-economic benefits for Mozambique towards sustainable development. Our sea policy and strategy provides for the establishment of a Blue Economy Observatory for all stakeholders to coordinate, harmonize, and maximize different uses of the sea. We are also committed to developing a national action plan to combat marine waste, which will enable vigorous measures against plastic waste and promote the sustainable use of inland waters such as lakes and rivers. In addition, we are restoring mangrove forests, the breeding ground for our renowned prawns and crabs, and we are curbing its indiscriminate depletion. Under these actions, we envisage that 5,000 hectares of this resource will be planted by 2023, thus contributing to the fulfillment of the Agenda 2030. To meet our goals, we have also focused on raising awareness of the society and users of the sea so that they embark on preventative and responsible attitudes, because we understand that the best keepers of nature are the communities themselves, because we are aware that addressing challenges of the sea require international coordination, and responding to the call of the United Nations for global action, Mozambique will host the first conference in May 2019 in Maputo, in partnership with the government of the Kingdom of Norway, whom we thank in advance. This conference will be held under the theme Growing Blue, promoting sustainable and shared exploitation of the oceans. Therefore, as I mentioned, we invite all countries, regional and international organizations, public and private partners to join the Maputo Conference and further the joint actions we have worked out in this conference today. The Maputo platform will enable us to identify inclusive interventions, innovative and transformative with national and regional impact, as well as it will go a long way in mobilizing cooperation and investment for institutional capacity building and human capital development, and the active participation of the academics, scientific research institutions, private sector and communities. Before I conclude, allow me to congratulate and acknowledge the co-hosts, Canada and Japan, and sponsors, particularly His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, whom I thank for the invitation extended to me to partake and for making this a pertinent and very productive event possible. Ladies and gentlemen, in your presence, I would like to reaffirm the commitment of the Republic of Mozambique's commitment to align herself with global efforts so as to reverse the current scenario and save our oceans and our lakes, our rivers, thus ensuring sustainable use of the nature, the universal heritage on which the survival of our planet and of all of us is dependent. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Nyusi.
Muito obrigado.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now play a video highlighting Theme 6 of this conference: Smart Shipping, Port Transportation, and Global Connectivity. Enjoy. Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen, I now
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, heads of delegations, distinguished participants, delegates to the Congress, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Having said that, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce and invite the Right Honorable Sarah Kugongelwa Amadhila, who is our Prime Minister since 2015. She is the first woman to serve in that position. The Right Honorable Kugongelwa Amadhila is a member of both the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of SWAPO Party in Namibia. She has been a member of the National Assembly of Namibia since 1995 and previously served as Minister of Finance from 2003 to 2015. Before then, she was the Director General of the National Planning Commission in Namibia. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Right Honorable Prime Minister Sarah Kugongelwa Amadila to deliver a Blue Economy Statement on behalf of His Excellency President Hage Geingob, President of the Republic of Namibia.
Thank you very much, Minister Esau. He's helping me with the IT. I'm not very good at that. Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellencies, heads of states and government, and heads of delegations, distinguished delegates, I am happy to present the commitment of Dr. Hage Geingob, President of the Republic of Namibia on the blue economy. President Hage Geingob is not able to attend this conference due to other commitments at home, and therefore delegated me to represent him. Namibia is highly dependent on sustainable blue economy for its development. As part of our blue economy, we have a vibrant and rich fisheries sector located in the upwelling Beguela Current System in the South Atlantic Ocean, an important marine diamond mining, marine energy, maritime transport, and marine tourism activities. Namibia is one of the few countries around the world whose commitment to sustainable blue economy is provided for in our Constitution. Article 95(1) of our Constitution commits the country to maintenance of ecosystems, essential ecological processes and biological diversity of Namibia, and utilization of living natural resources on a sustainable basis for the benefit of all Namibians, both present and future. In particular, the government shall provide measures against the dumping or recycling of foreign nuclear and toxic waste in Namibian waters. This commitment is given meaning through our National Development Plan, NDP 5, for the period 2017 to 2022, which includes specific commitments on blue economy, fisheries, development of ports infrastructure, marine mining, and coastal and marine tourism developments. In particular, Namibia is committed to develop and implement an integrated blue economy policy and marine spatial plan, enhance sustainable fisheries management, eradicate illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, and ensure economic inclusivity and socio-economic development from our fisheries resources. Develop our port infrastructure to become a regional logistics and value addition hub in the South Atlantic Ocean. Enhance value addition in our mining sector, including marine mining, and enhance tourism development, including coastal and marine tourism. On sustainability, Namibia is amongst the leaders on best practices on sustainable fisheries management because of the following. Namibia has a rights-based fisheries and conducts fisheries stock assessments annually, which helps us to set sustainable total allowable catches annually for all commercial species. Namibia has put in place infrastructure and institutional arrangement for monitoring, control, and surveillance to control IUU fishing. In addition, we have a separate fisheries observer agency, another leading area which helps us to independently monitor fishing operations by placing observers on board fishing vessels. Because of these deliberate measures, Namibia was able to reverse the near-collapse situation in our fisheries, which we inherited at the time of our independence in 1990, to stable commercial stocks currently. On marine protected areas, MPA, Namibia has more than 10% of its EEZ as protected area, which includes areas shallower than 200 meters along our entire coastline and 16 marine islands with a total area of 12,000 square kilometers. Namibia remains committed to working with the international community to achieve sustainable blue circular economic development. In this regard, Namibia is signatory to the Port States Measures Agreement, PSMA, which is coordinated through FAO, because we believe we must fight IUU together as a family of nations. Namibia is a member of the high-level panel on sustainable oceans economies, led by Norway and Palau, where His Excellency Dr. Hage Geingob, our president, is a member, and our Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources is Sherpa. Namibia is keen to work together with other 12 countries in this panel to broaden political support for action on sustainable ocean economies. Namibia is an active participant in our Ocean and Oceans Conference processes, which are aimed at mobilizing global action to save the ocean by combating overfishing and IUU fishing, eradicating ocean pollution, including plastics pollution, and reversing effects of climate change on oceans, including acidification, oxygen depletion, and increase in sea temperatures. Namibia is keen to participate in the UN process on biodiversity in areas beyond national jurisdiction, ABNJ, which began in 2018 in Singapore. Namibia is home to Benguela Current Commission, BCC, and Southeast Atlantic Fisheries Organization, CIFO, two important regional fisheries management organizations. The Sustainable Blue Economy Conference in Nairobi includes concrete commitments to action. In this regard, Namibia wishes to make the following commitments. In the next 12 months, Namibia is committing about $5 million for marine protection and research. This includes $2.7 million additional funds to intensify the fight against IUU fishing and improve ocean governance, and a further $2.3 million to facilitate research on oceans. These funds are in addition to normal budgetary allocations to the Ministries of Fisheries and Marine Resources for routine activities. Namibia is committed to completing the development and implementation of a blue economy policy and regulatory framework, including marine spatial planning, by year 2020. Namibia is committed to increasing its gazetted marine protected area MPAs and identification of other ecologically or biologically significant areas, EBSAs, by 2022. And Namibia is committed to significantly increase value addition and economic inclusivity and socio-economic contribution from its blue economy, especially in marine mining, fisheries, marine transport, and marine and coastal areas. Lastly, I would like to join the preceding speakers in thanking Kenya for the excellent hospitality extended to me and my delegation since our arrival in this beautiful city of Nairobi, and to thank the co-host for successfully hosting this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, Head of State and Government, Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my gratitude to the government and people of Kenya for hosting this important conference on the sustainable blue economy, as well as for their warm hospitality. Permit me to pay tribute to President Uhuru Kenyatta for his strong commitment to the African agenda in general and the promotion of the blue economy in particular. I also like to express my appreciation to President Danifor of Seychelles for having accepted to be the African Union champion on the blue economy, as well as the other leaders who are here with us today. Your presence, Excellencies, is a clear demonstration of your commitment to advancing the continent's development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the importance of maritime issues for Africa hardly needs to be emphasized. Blue economy is a critical component of the efforts aimed at fostering the continent's integration and transformation, as well as improving the living standards of its citizens. 38 African Union member states are either coastal or island states. Over 90% of Africa's imports and exports are conducted through the oceans and seas. By including maritime issues in Agenda 2063, the African Union has made the blue economy central to its vision. In this regard, it is worth noting that over the years, the African Union has developed key policy documents such as the Lome Charter on Maritime Security and Safety and Development in Africa, the 2050 African Integrated Maritime Strategy, and the revised African Maritime Charter. In line with the 2050 Africa's Integrated Maritime Strategy, also known as the M Strategy, the African Union objective is to foster increased wealth creation from Africa's inland waters, oceans, and seas by developing a sustainable blue economy in a stable, safe, secure, and environmentally responsible manner. Maritime safety and security and maritime environment protection are also among the strategic objectives to be achieved. Promoting effectively the blue economy calls for the pursuit of a multi-pronged approach. This includes developing the oceanic transport sector, strengthening, protecting, and developing the fishing sector, growing tourism, and facilitating the deep sea exploration and exploitation of the undersea resources. It also requires that oceans are used sustainably and that they are protected for current and future generations. These are the principles upon which the M strategy is based. I would like to conclude by reiterating our commitment to spare no efforts towards the achievement of the goals we have set for ourselves. Building on the progress made so far, the African Union intends to take further steps to advance the blue economy. In this respect, one of the measures being considered relates to the inclusion of the promotion of the blue economy among the flagship projects of Agenda 2063. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you.
Good morning once again. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you. The theme of this conference, the Sustainable Blue Economy, is both about challenges and opportunities. Presently, the world and our oceans face tremendous challenges ranging from the effects of climate change, biodiversity loss, the sustainability of fisheries in the context of a world that has an increasing population, and large-scale plastics pollutions in our oceans, rivers, and lakes. Each of these are global issues that will require coordinated global action to find and implement globally effective solutions. The blue economy, however, also provides opportunities associated with a truly sustainable and technologically enabled fisheries, which can be a source of economic security and growth, enhanced tourism and recreational opportunities, and efficient and environmentally sustainable transportation and export growth. Canada well understands that addressing these challenges and accessing opportunities cannot be effectively addressed by any one country or any one actor acting alone. Significant and sustained progress will only be made through collective discussion, information sharing, and the development of deep and effective partnerships. Domestically, Canada has taken significant actions relating to ocean health and to economic development related to oceans. For example, we are presently implementing a $1.5 billion oceans protection plan that is focused on enhancing marine safety and addressing concerns regarding marine biodiversity to protect Canada's coasts and its waterways. As part of the HE process, Canada has committed to protect 10% of our marine and coastal areas by 2020, and we are well on our way to meeting this target. And the Government of Canada and the private sector have pledged over $150 million in what we call an ocean supercluster, which will enable the development of innovative practices and cutting-edge technologies that will assist Canada in becoming a global leader in the knowledge-based ocean economy. This ocean supercluster will foster new partnerships with key stakeholders and will accelerate innovation and commercialization and will drive increased sustainable economic growth from our oceans. Over the past year, Canada has announced several international actions relevant to this conversation. Prime Minister Trudeau recently announced a $10 million investment to the Pacific Initiative for Biodiversity, Climate Change, and Resilience. Funding for this joint initiative with the European Union, France, New Zealand, and Australia will support the Pacific region to adapt to climate change, protect biodiversity, and improve ocean and fisheries health. We are also committing $20 million in new funding for increased technical assistance and capacity development in small island developing states. During this past year, Canada had the honor of serving as the presidency of the G7, and during that period we focused on and made several funding commitments on a number of different issues that are relevant to the blue economy, addressing marine plastic pollution through social and technological innovation, increasing our ocean knowledge by expanding global observation efforts as well as better sharing of scientific data, supporting innovative solutions and financing to develop clean and resilient energy systems in vulnerable coastal communities, and supporting sustainable oceans and fisheries by combating illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Une plus grande transparence, par exemple, grâce au modèle ouvert.
Public will support politics played by the state fishing boats, which will be apply those who on reducing the dependency on the application of the regulation.
To date, and we plan to make some additional announcements over the course of this important conference. Canada is very much looking to partner with countries from around the world to make progress in addressing key challenges and to pursuing significant opportunities. We are very much interested in dialogues where all parties can bring their strengths and collaboration can be for the benefit of all. In particular, Canada believes it has strengths to make contributions in these conversations in areas such as ocean science, waste infrastructure, clean fisheries and aquaculture technologies, fisheries enforcement, and investment capital. We are keen to work with all those represented here today for the betterment of our environment and our economy. Each of you, by being here today, is making a statement that the issues of the blue economy are important for you. The Government of Canada pledges to work in partnership with you to make progress that will create benefits for all. We are very much at a critical time. Key environmental challenges are clearly becoming increasingly pressing. At the same time, addressing these challenges in thoughtful ways can help us to create enhanced economic security and economic opportunity for the future. It is very much time for us all to seize on the momentum generated by this gathering to push forward in concretely and practically addressing these very important issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the ocean. I would like to thank the Republic of Kenya for organizing this very timely conference. Norway is pleased to be one of the co-sponsors. Sir David Attenborough once said that the oceans define us. I wholeheartedly agree. The oceans are our past, and they hold the key to our future. But currently, as we have heard, the oceans are in critical states. 8 million tons of plastic end up in the oceans every year. Norwegian scientists who are mapping fish stocks off the coast of Africa and Asia report that almost every second catch is not only fish, but also plastic. By 2050, there may be more plastic than fish in the oceans. And all that plastic is contaminating birds, marine ecosystems, and the seafood that ends up on our dinner table. Fish eat plastic. People eat fish. Although, as we have heard, with the notable exception of His Excellency the President of Uganda. We need clean, healthy, and productive oceans more than ever. By 2050, we may be 10 billion people on this planet. The demand for food will increase. The need for jobs will increase. If we manage to strike the right balance between production and protection, we can harvest huge resources from the sea. But we cannot possibly succeed if we continue to use the oceans as a dumpster. It's inspiring to see such a large number of people gather here in Nairobi to address and take action on one of the most important global issues of our day, the sustainable blue economy agenda. Norwegians have lived by the sea and off the sea for more than 1,000 years. For us, the ocean is both a way of life and a way of making a living. We have learned that it is perfectly possible to combine ocean-based activities with safeguarding the marine environment. Today, more than 2/3 of Norway's export revenues come from ocean-based activities, and our use of the oceans is based on sustainability. But there is still tremendous untapped potential. It's estimated that the ocean economy could more than double its contribution to global value added by 2030. However, that can only happen if we manage the oceans wisely and safeguard their health. On a trip to Ghana earlier this year, I met a fisherman who told me that the size of his catch was noticeably smaller today than it was a few years ago. For him, that's not only an observation. Smaller catches are a direct threat to his livelihood and his ability to provide for himself and his family. He is not alone. That is why we need to make the world understand that sensible and sustainable ocean management is hugely important for economic growth, jobs, and development. To make this case, Norway's Prime Minister, Erna Solberg, launched a high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy earlier this year. The panel consists of a dozen heads of states and governments from countries around the world, including several countries in Africa. They will present a report to the UN accompanied by bold and concrete policy recommendations ahead of the UN conference in 2020. And I hope the report will do for the oceans what the new climate economy panel did for the climate. Show the world that there is profit in putting people and planet first. In December 2017, the United Nations Environment Assembly adopted the long-term objective of achieving zero discharge of marine litter to the oceans. I hope that the Assembly can agree on further action at the next meeting here in Nairobi in March. A stronger regulatory framework needs to be accompanied by effective tools and actions. And to that effect, Norway has set aside $200 million over the next 4 years for a development program to combat marine litter and microplastics. As a part of this initiative, Norway has taken the initiative to establish a multi-donor trust fund in the World Bank to improve waste management and prevent marine litter in developing countries. The Pro-Blue Trust Fund will be launched later today when we formally sign the agreement with the World Bank. In just 6 months, we have raised more than $100 million from 8 donors. And that's a good beginning. But we still need more friends of the oceans to come on board. The ocean economy holds enormous potential. However, to unleash that potential, we must change our ways. We urgently need better ocean resource management. We need to put an end to illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. And last but not least, we need to stop using our oceans as a dumpster. In order to achieve this, we need closer cooperation, more knowledge, better ways of sharing, stronger action, and political leadership. And the good news is that those are all renewable resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Excellent.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm indeed honoured to be in Kenya, hot on the heels, literally the heels of our Prime Minister, Mrs. May, who visited but 3 months ago. And when Mrs. May was in Kenya, she underlined the deep commitment of the United Kingdom to strengthening our ties and partnership and cooperation across Africa, and importantly on the issues of the blue economy. The United Kingdom, the UK, well, we are an island state, and we are committed to being at the forefront of global action to both promote, strengthen the conservation and sustainable use of our great world heritage, our oceans. We all know that the ocean is an indispensable part of what we would all term the global life support system. Yet, tragically, in a few short decades, we ourselves, humanity, has caused harm to the ocean on such a scale that it could take thousands of years to recover, if indeed it recovers at all. From the UK's perspective in paying tribute to our gracious hosts and their partner hosts, the UK is also pleased to be supporting this conference. And in doing so, we are also supporting small island developing states to develop their marine economy plans. At the United Nations General Assembly this year, the UK pledged to achieve an international commitment to protect 30%, yes, that's 30% of the world's ocean through marine protected areas by 2030. 30 by 30 is our pledge. Now I know His Excellency is no longer with us, the President of Uganda, and he said he didn't like international organizations much. But we believe absolutely in the strength of our family which is the Commonwealth. And I would say to the President and his representatives here today, we hope they will also join the various initiatives within the context of the Commonwealth. We lead on the Commonwealth Blue Charter Action Group on marine plastic use. Measures we have taken domestically to ban single-use plastics are amongst the most stringent on the planet. And together with Vanuatu, we chair the Commonwealth Clean Oceans Alliance. And I hope in our deliberations with Commonwealth partners in the margins of this conference, and yes, including with Uganda as well, they will join this alliance. It is encouraging, indeed it is essential, that some of the biggest names in global business and finance are also engaging in this work. Because this is a challenge, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, an opportunity, which requires for all of us to work together. Responding to consumer demand, yes, but also seizing new opportunities that a sustainable blue economy can provide. In this respect, again, I was delighted to hear from the President of Seychelles, and I pay tribute to the Seychelles for launching the world's first blue bond. The ocean, as we all know, is a global resource. It sustains us. It is all important that we work together. It is vital we make real efforts now to balance exploitation with conservation in order to preserve the ocean for the future. This is what a sustainable economy is all about. In such an economy, we all truly value the ocean's natural capital. We should stop treating the oceans as a bottomless free resource and a dumping ground for a consumer society. And I assure you the United Kingdom will play its part. We will shortly publish a new international ocean strategy, emphasizing the need for a holistic approach. And we are already delivering on our commitment to protect over 4 million square kilometers of ocean under our £20 million Blue Belt programme, covering both our domestic waters and those around our overseas territories. In conclusion, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the ocean is our collective resource. It is a global resource. It sustains us for our own sakes, for the sake of our children and the future generations. We need to play our part in sustaining it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, the blue economy has a huge potential to drive sustainable growth. In the European Union, it generates some 566 billion euros and creates jobs for nearly 3.5 million people. It is our Mediterranean beach resorts, our Atlantic wave energy platforms, our Baltic Sea fish processing plants, and our North Sea offshore wind farms. It is all this and more like blue technology. But we must not make the same mistakes at sea that we have made on land. We must conserve the growth base of our blue economy, our biggest natural asset, that is the ocean. That is why the European Union has adopted strict legal rules. In the EU, fish stocks must be managed at sustainable levels by 2020. Marine litter from plastic must be reduced. Investments in the oceans must undergo environmental impact assessments. And the use of maritime space must be planned. We have European seas, but there is only really one ocean. And what is globally shared must be globally cared for. Therefore, we need improved global ocean governance and true international partnership. And it is this partnership that the European Union is offering to Africa. European Commission President Juncker has recently proposed a new alliance
for sustainable investment and jobs between Europe and Africa, an alliance that could help create up to 10 million jobs in Africa in the next 5 years, an alliance between equal partners. Think about the sustainable fisheries partnership agreements that the EU has with a number of countries, from Morocco to Mauritius, from Senegal to the Seychelles. These agreements provide financial and technical support in exchange for fishing on sustainable stocks, dedicated support to develop the blue economy in our partner countries can be included in these agreements. We can also team up to fight illegal fishing. As a result of our dialogues with more than 50 countries, worldwide coastal and flag states have strengthened their control systems. This is leading to healthier stocks, improved food security, and more fishing opportunities for local fishermen. And the European Union's external investment plan aims to mobilize nearly 44 billion euros of investment by 2020, including for the blue economy. My message is the European Union is here to help build a sustainable blue economy in partnership for progress and with sustainability. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vela. Up next, I wish to
Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, heads of delegations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends, it gives me great pleasure to attend the high-level conference on sustainable blue economy on behalf of the Chinese government. China commends the Kenya government for hosting this conference, which I believe will contribute to global development. I wish this conference a full success. Ocean, the is new engine for the global economy. The international community attaches great importance to the development of blue economy. For instance, the China is a developing and major marine country. In China in joint labor through financial and technological support, personal training, etc. China will continue to support African and other developing countries' ocean capacity building. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, during this as with Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Ambassador. Up next, I wish to invite
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, can I thank our hosts for organising this very important event. It's an honour for me to lend Ireland's support to this global effort in addressing the challenges we face in securing prosperous, safe, healthy future for the oceans in which we all share. While we focus today on the blue economy, our policies and commitments shared today must be underpinned by the recognition of how important our actions are and how they impact on our societies and on our environment. Ireland is developing a national marine planning framework which will cover Ireland's maritime area, including the internal waters, territorial seas, exclusive economic zones, and the continental shelf by 2021. My government has published a Basel Line report for this framework, which is a major step towards the preparation of a marine spatial plan for Ireland. It will inform the next steps in the process, including the development of objectives and policies in the draft plan. Ireland's National Marine Planning Framework will balance the different demands for using the sea, including the needs to protect our marine environment. It's about planning when and where human activities take place at sea and ensuring these activities are efficient and as sustainable as possible. We will involve all stakeholders in a transparent way in the planning of our maritime activities. Ladies and gentlemen, protecting and managing our ocean resources is fundamental to their sustainable use. Ireland this year will complete a €250 million naval vessel replacement programme involving the purchase of 4 larger vessels more capable of offshore patrol vessels tasked primarily with maritime surveillance and fishing protection. We are also procuring 2 new maritime patrol aircraft to maintain and enhance our capacity to conduct maritime surveillance operations within the exclusive economic zone and beyond to the continental shelf in support of ocean protection
and sustainable fisheries. We are also committing €32 million to the delivery of 3 Pilatus 12 aircraft with sophisticated surveillance suites to the Irish Defence Forces in 2019-2020. These aircraft, ladies and gentlemen, would provide a significantly enhanced patrolling capacity in support of maritime surveillance and protection. Of course, this is in addition to the increased investment of €1.5 million to upgrade our current naval services ICT systems, which supports Ireland's fishery protection regime. Through our development programme, cooperation programme, Ireland is also exploring opportunities to support countries in safeguarding and developing their ocean economies. And of course, partnerships. Partnerships are key opportunities to share expertise and experience, and Ireland is committed to deepen these partnerships with our international counterparts. Ladies and gentlemen, Ireland is determined to make a contribution to the global efforts to respond to the climate and marine challenges that we face. Therefore, in June 2019, in Ireland, our annual Ocean Wealth Summit will aim to provide opportunities for countries to share their stories and experiences in addressing, one, the environmental, economic and social opportunities so as we can create a sustainable ocean economies. So I welcome you all to that summit next June, our Ocean Wealth Summit, and you're very welcome to our beautiful green and country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Green. Up next, ladies and gentlemen,
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished audience, good afternoon all. In the name of the government of the Sultanate of Oman, we thank the government of the Republic of Kenya for hosting this important conference in the area of managing the marine life and resources and harnessing the potentials of seas and oceans with greater attention to sustainable development, innovations and modern marine technologies, increasing jobs productivity, jobs provision and food security. In the Sultanate of Oman, we pay great attention to the blue economy. Oman has exploited its strategic location on the open seas in diversifying the national economy and reducing the full dependence on oil by successfully implementing development plan based on integration and establishment of free zone industries and logistics services near the main sea ports, linking them to modern airports and excellent road network. Oman's internationally recognized deep ports in Sohar, Duqm and Salalah are playing an important role in preserving our maritime history and considered major hub for container transport and distribution in the region, given its strategic location overlooking the Indian Ocean and the Horn of Africa and situated directly on the major international shipping lines. In the area of climate change and fighting pollution, the Sultanate pays considerable attention for these issues as it supports the efforts to curb the climate change at the global level. Oman has signed the Paris Agreement on climate change. We are now working on drafting a national strategy that aims to mitigate the climate effects of human and development activities and capacity building in the area of climate change. We are sure such national strategy will contribute to marine resource sustainability and conservation in line with the global efforts. The fisheries sector in Oman is considered one of the promising sectors that the government paid great attention given the opportunities it presents that will contribute to economic diversification. In the global initiative launched by the FAO in 2012, 6 countries among them Oman, were selected as having pioneer experiments in fisheries development and conservation and marine and environmental sustainability. Honorable audience, we are confident that this conference will certainly contribute to promoting cooperation between all of us and will achieve its intended objective. Thank you very much for listening.
Excellencies,
Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I greet all of you on behalf of His Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa. Our delegation would like to express its gratitude to the people of the Republic of Kenya for their warm reception and hospitality. We welcome these initiatives, more especially that is taking place on our African continent. We trust that the outcomes of this conference will respond positively to the development agenda of the African continent to address issues of development, poverty, and unemployment facing many of our countries. Agenda 2063 of the African Union, to which all African countries have committed themselves to, clearly articulates the significance of the contribution of opportunities related to the blue economy in both existing and emerging economic sectors. We also need, we are strongly of the view as South Africa, an integrated blue economy strategy for our continent that brings together the variety of agreements and initiatives in maritime, transport, and other related areas. For what is at stake in the oceans, especially for developing countries, including small island developing states, we must ensure a greater level of cooperation, primarily to advance the interests of Africa and their future sons and daughters. Ocean economy must sustain coastal communities and in particular must empower women and youth. With South Africa's unique location being bordered by 3 oceans, a lengthy coastline of some 3,900 kilometers, and an exclusive economic zone of 1.5 million square kilometers, we recognize the huge potential of our ocean space to contribute to the broader economic development of our country and our continent. In this regard, South Africa is already actively advancing sustainable ocean economy development through our program, which we call Operation Pakisa, Oceans Economy, that means Operation Hurry Up, to unlock economic opportunities. South Africa remains committed to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly goal number 14, together with accompanying targets to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources. It is a commitment we believe in and are willing to defend. We further pledge to work with the Republic of Kenya and our other sister African countries in a collaborative manner to advance the sustainable blue or ocean economy. Lastly, we are also willing to collaborate, share knowledge and expertise from our own South African experience, whilst learning from others, especially in our continent. We wish this conference a very successful conclusion and to achieve all its objectives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, next I call up
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all courtesies observed, I bring you the greetings of Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who sends his best wishes for the conference and congratulates, along with me, the governments of Kenya and Canada and Japan for hosting us here. The ocean, as has been said, is the foundation of life on planet Earth. Make no mistake, the ocean, along with our climate, is in trouble. You've already heard reference to the many woes that we have afflicted upon the ocean: rising sea levels, ocean acidification, ocean warming. These are all things which relate to climate change, which of course is related to GHG emissions of our industrial systems. There is also that other man-made aspect of oceans problems, which is harmful fisheries, illegal fisheries, and also, of course, marine pollution. And all of these activities, if you sum them up, all come from mankind's activities on land. So the connection between land and sea is critical to our getting things right. So you've all heard the news. I don't want to dwell on that too much. What I would like to emphasize is that we have a plan to set things right. And it's a good plan. It's a plan that was put in place after many, many years of hard negotiation between 193 member states of the United Nations. I refer, of course, to the great agreements of 2015, the Paris Climate Agreement and the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, put together along with the mosaic of international agreements like Sendai, like the AU's own development agenda, like the biodiversity agreement that we have. Put all these together in that mosaic, and this is our plan that we have all agreed to by consensus. And so the responsibility that we have to provide our children and grandchildren a secure place on this planet relates entirely to the faithful implementation of that plan that we have put together. Multilateralism has never been more important for humanity than it is at this time. And you only have to think about climate change and ocean change to realize that we're all in this together and there can be no separate way out of this. So let me just say something very quickly about SDG 14, the 14th goal of the Sustainable Development Agenda that I referred to, known as the Oceans Goal. To put that into motion, the UN Ocean Conference was held in June 2017. Massive wave of ocean action came out of that, which is still sweeping around the world. And my job is to keep that wave in action between now and the second UN conference, which is expected to happen in Lisbon in June 2020. I would like to bring to your attention that under SDG 14, 4 of the 10 targets that we have set ourselves on the agenda, 4 of them mature in 2020. So that's why we must have our moment of honesty and assessment in 2020 in Lisbon to see how we're traveling on SDG 14. And just to remind you what those 4 targets are, we're talking about removing harmful fishery subsidies, taking marine protected areas to 10%, and better management of marine and coastal ecosystems, and ending harmful fisheries, overfishing and IUU fishing. So that's what we're going to achieve between now and 2020. It's not a marathon, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sprint. I have no doubt at all that this conference will be a key element in SDG 14's faithful implementation. It's very clear that this is going to prove to be an extremely important conference, and I would say to all that from the date of this conference, Africa is now a full part of the global ocean conversation and the global ocean action program. So congratulations again to the government of Kenya. We've all been asked to make a commitment. My commitment is to spend my days pushing for the faithful implementation of SDG 14, in particular those 4 targets that I mentioned that have to be implemented before 2020. So let's go our loins. Nelson Mandela it was who said that everything is impossible until it's done, so let's just do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you very much. Excellencies, heads of delegation, on behalf of the Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, who was scheduled to be with us today but is unavoidably not able to join us, I would like to present this statement. We welcome the opportunity to address the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference and thank the governments of Kenya, Canada, and Japan for co-organizing this timely conference. As you heard from my colleague, Ambassador Peter Thompson, our world's oceans are in crisis. Corals are dying, the Arctic and Antarctic are melting, the oceans are slowly losing oxygen, posing a major problem for every marine animal. Sea levels are rising. Humanity needs healthy marine systems. Increasing levels of debris in the world's oceans are having a major environmental impact. At the current pace, by 2050, plastic in the oceans will outweigh fish. About 20% of the world's coral reefs have been effectively destroyed, and the recent IPCC report indicates that if we do not manage to keep global warming at 1.5 degrees, coral reefs will disappear. Furthermore, improper marine management is resulting in overfishing. The lost economic benefits from the fisheries sector amounts to around $50 billion annually. UN Environment estimates the cumulative economic impact of poor ocean management practice is at least $200 billion a year. Acknowledging the vital importance of the oceans and the urgency of the challenge, Member States included a specific goal on oceans in the 2030 Agenda. With Sustainable Development Goal 14, Member States committed to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas and marine resources for sustainable development. This goal addresses a range of issues related to the conservation and sustainable use of our oceans to respond to the urgent need for transformative change towards more sustainable practices. Last year's Oceans Conference built on these efforts by focusing on possible options to reverse the decline in the health of our oceans for people, planet, and prosperity. Governments and other partners, individually or in partnership, made 1,450 voluntary commitments to advance the implementation of SDG 14 and related targets. It's important that we begin to deliver on those commitments. The importance of conservation and the sustainable use of the ocean reinforces and enables other SDGs, and these positive cross-cutting relationships must be nurtured and protected. Challenges such as the impact of climate change in the form of rising sea levels, increased frequency and severity of extreme weather events, rising temperatures will have direct and indirect impacts on ocean-related sectors such as fisheries, aquaculture, and tourism, and on maritime transport infrastructure such as ports. This has broader implications for international trade and for the development prospects of the most vulnerable nations, in particular coastal least developed countries and small island developing states. For these countries, the ocean plays a fundamental role in financial, social, and environmental well-being, and we need to avoid these impacts. Next week, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, parties to the UNFCCC will meet in Katowice in Poland to negotiate guidelines to implement the Paris Agreement and discuss how to increase our collective level of ambition. We are far away from meeting the Paris Agreement goals. We urge all countries to participate constructively in the negotiations in Poland and emerge with strong implementation rules to unleash the full potential of the Paris Agreement. It is also imperative that this conference builds on the solutions and voluntary commitments of the Ocean Conference and galvanizes more commitments which must translate into actions very quickly for advancing SDG 14. Dear friends, a sustainable blue economy will require concerted effort by all stakeholders at the global, regional, and national levels. Urgent action is required by everyone. On the part of the United Nations Office in Nairobi, which hosts the United Nations Environment Programme and which also hosts UN Habitat, we are committed to using our technical resources to support you and support all member states in delivering on their policy commitments to achieve SDG 14, working from Nairobi for the world and for Africa. We look to all of you for help to guide the way ahead, protecting our oceans and creating a sustainable blue economy. And we wish you a very successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of the ocean. Let me start by saying how delighted I am to be here, and I would also like to express my heartfelt thanks to our host, President Kenyatta, and to the co-host, Canada and Japan, and to all who have worked very hard to make this conference a reality. And let me now start by saying that if we keep on destroying our ocean, the ecological, social, and economical consequences will be catastrophic. And as you're all well aware, climate change has many negative effects of the ocean: sea level rise, acidification, oxygen depletion, and the loss of marine biodiversity, to name but a few. I therefore urge world leaders to agree on a Paris rulebook at COP24 in Katowice that begins next week. If we can't beat climate change, we can't save the ocean, and there will be no sustainable blue economy. We're all aware the threats that are facing the ocean are many, and we need to address them all and with all our powers. That's why, to spur global action, Sweden and Fiji last year hosted the first ever UN conference on the ocean, which generated almost 1,400 voluntary commitments by states and other actors around the world. I'm very grateful that Kenya and Portugal now plan to arrange a follow-up conference by 2020, when 4 of the SDG 14's targets mature, as Peter Thompson, the SG Special Representative of the Oceans, already mentioned. And all the world's hard work is needed to fulfill these targets. Sweden supports the transition to a sustainable blue economy at the national, but also at the international levels. At home, we try to enhance integration in our maritime policy through a maritime strategy and to create incentives for sustainable blue business. For instance, we have firm legislation on sulfur emissions, while the government also supports the use of batteries as a propulsion for shipping. Those incentives work well together. We believe it's good for business to create the solutions for the future demand and to avoid stranded assets being built into the blue economy business models. Furthermore, more than 13% of Sweden's territorial waters is now protected. At the international level, Sweden supports a wide range of initiatives, organizations, and funds. In 2018, we have, for instance, increased our funding to a total of $8 million to the Blue Action Fund, and contributed $6 million to UNEP and the coordinating body of the seas of East Asia to fight the plague of plastic pollution. As our commitment at this conference, I'm pleased to announce that Sweden, through SIDA, is providing a grant of approximately $33.3 million to the World Bank's fund Pro Blue. This will enable the bank to enhance its efforts to support the implementation of SDG 14 and the transition to the blue economy around the world. As many already have underlined here today, blue means life. Sweden is committed to work together with all partners to reverse the decline of our oceans, because we know that this is a matter of survival to us all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Il est donc à assister le président de l'Égypte. Merci beaucoup. Chère Excellence, distingués participants, c'est un grand...
To His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and to the government of Kenya for hosting this conference here in Nairobi to address this most timely issue of sustainable blue economy. Ladies and gentlemen, oceans, seas, lakes and rivers have reliably provided economic prosperity to all humanity through the ages. However, the management and exploitation of these resources have never been sustainable. Many of these activities have led to increased industrial pollution of waters, overfishing, and climate change. All of this has resulted in rising sea levels and warming of the seas affecting the marine habitat. With this in mind, it is crucial that we take the necessary urgent actions required to reverse these trends. Egypt is fully committed to this cause at the national level within its vision of 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, and at the level of the African continent to achieve its Development Agenda 2063, especially in light of Egypt's upcoming presidency of the African Union during 2019. Likewise, we are equally committed through Egypt's current chairmanship of the G77. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, the city of Sharm el-Sheikh is witnessing the final days of the 14th meeting of the parties to the United Nations Convention on Biodiversity, which will soon conclude its work to lay the foundation for more ambitious actions, clearer commitments, and tangible contributions. At the opening of the COP14 on November 17th, the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, announced an initiative for a coherent approach towards climate change, biodiversity, and land use. This initiative aims to create sharp reductions in emissions to mitigate the impact on biodiversity and to allow improved ecosystems, which in turn will slow down climate change. We look forward to your support and to be part of this new approach. Additionally, and as part of our effort to address the needs of the blue economy, Egypt has completed the preparation of a marine monitoring program and integrated coastal zone management plans. We have also adopted a comprehensive approach with regard to the protection of the seas, lakes, and rivers, through elaborating detailed plans as a central part of our vision for the 2030 Sustainable Development, of which the financing required to implement the plans and the relevant projects is estimated over $50 billion in the upcoming 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, no country is immune from the climate change and its consequences. In this respect, we are keen to work together with the other developing countries to successfully implement the blue economy aspects. However, this depends on enabling international environment that facilitates access to the necessary means of implementation, in particular in the areas of finance, technology, and capacity building. To conclude, please allow me to reiterate our firm commitment to the cause of preserving the world's oceans, seas, lakes, and rivers. In simple words, the sustainable blue economy, and to better manage the abundant natural resources. We will continue to work with all partners to reach practical, effective, and implementable outcomes. And we will spare no effort to ensure that our collective endeavors become a reality for the sake of our planet and future generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of His Excellency President Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, I wish to thank the government of Kenya for inviting Rwanda to this important conference, co-hosted by Kenya, Canada, and Japan. I also take this opportunity to convey the message of appreciation from His Excellency President Paul Kagame for this good initiative. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this conference on sustainable blue economy comes at the right time, given the prevailing conditions affecting one of the most precious resources, water, both at the national and regional level. It is worth noting that Rwanda is part of many regional organizations focused on integrated water resource management, such as the Nile Basin Initiative, the Red Chivu and Rusizi River Basin Authority, and the recently signed Memorandum of Understanding establishing the Blue Fund for the Congo Basin. In the context of Rwanda, blue economy is most related to the developing rivers and lakes, whereby the main economic water uses are water supply for domestic and industrial uses, agriculture, energy, ecotourism, and navigation, whose potential is being explored. Over the last 2 decades, the government of Rwanda has been investing a lot in environmental conservation, mainly by protecting our water bodies and catchments against soil erosion and banning the use of plastic bags, which are among the key threats globally to our oceans and lakes, and this will continue. In 2011, the government of Rwanda adopted the national strategy on climate change and low carbon development, known as the Green Growth and Climate Resilience Strategy, with 14 programs of actions. Among them, the integrated water resource management and planning, climate data and projection, disaster management and disease protection, prevention, sustainable forestry, agroforestry and biomass energy, and low carbon mix of power generation for national grid, to mention but a few. These programs, like the rest, heavily impact water resources. The new national strategy for transformation envisions a Rwanda that is green and commits to promote sustainable blue economy, especially by developing water resource-based renewable energy and navigation in our lakes and rivers. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in a bid to assess how natural resources are contributing to the national economy, Rwanda embarked on the development of national capital accounting for water, lands, and minerals, making it the second African country after Botswana to undertake an extensive system of national accounts. This approach will help Rwanda to integrate natural resources into economic planning, improve development decisions, and provide a broader picture of development progress than standard measures such as the gross domestic product. Furthermore, to ensure sustainable blue economy development, Rwanda has developed and is implementing a series of master plans as a means of facilitating sustainable utilization of its natural resources. In that perspective, the government of Rwanda adopted in 2015 a national water resources master plan as the basis for water resources management, which is being implemented through an established water allocation system in a bid to ensure sustainable blue economy development. To protect our lakes and rivers against degradation, various research initiatives in Rwanda are focusing on catchments planning and rehabilitation, flood control, and early warning system, and water quality management. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, recently, following the water-related disasters that befell our country, claiming human lives and property, as well as destroying numerous social and economic infrastructure, as a result of climate change, the government of Rwanda undertook a dedicated assessment of the situation and resolved to enhance the institutional framework to coordinate and manage water resources. I'm glad to inform you that last week, the cabinet meeting chaired by His Excellency Paul Kagame adopted the establishment of the National Water Resources Board. The Rwanda National Water Resources Board will be mandated to address critical aspects like water knowledge and forecasting, catchments restoration and erosion control, flood management, and water storage development, water allocation efficiency and recycling, and water quality management, among others. This board comes at the right time to strengthen Rwanda's commitment to advancing the sustainable blue economy. In conclusion, I wish to reiterate the commitment by the government of Rwanda to advance the sustainable blue economy development agenda. Finally, I wish to convey my gratitude to the government of Kenya for hosting this conference and to the people of Kenya for the warm hospitality we are enjoying. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Your Excellency, and I
you.